College entrance exam results are out. To ditch the chaebol heiress who's been clinging to me since childhood, I decisively changed my first choice to animal medicine at a remote agricultural university, specializing in porcine science. As it turned out, on the first day of school, at the university's experimental pig farm under the scorching sun, I was shirtless mixing pig feed when a pink Rolls-Royce drove straight into the courtyard. The school's coldest and most glamorous chaebol lady kicked open the car door and walked up to me in limited edition AJs. With rimmed red eyes, she handed over a document. I just bought this. Fully automated, sterile, temperature-controlled pigsty. You must move in with me tonight. My head started buzzing. The shovel in my hand, mixing bran and leftovers, went clang and dropped onto the concrete floor. The seniors nearby who were shoveling manure had their eyes bulging out so hard they almost fell into the feeding trough. I looked at Su Yorong in front of me. In her high-end French strappy floral dress, Chanel sunglasses pushed up on her head, with skin so white it glowed, flushing pink under the 90-degree scorching sun. Against this pigsty that reeked of charmingly fermented sour stench, she looked completely out of place. I wiped the sweat off my face. Are you crazy? Su Yorong bit her lower lip hard. Tears welled up in her eyes. But she forced them back. She slapped that property transfer deed directly onto my chest, which was covered in pig feed. Sign it. No, miss. I took half a step back, pointing at the old sow grunting and nuzzling the bars behind me. I came here to learn how to breed and deliver pigs. You bought a multi-million-dollar climate-controlled villa as a pigsty? What would your father think? Su Yorong sneered. I don't care what he thinks. Anyway, if you sleep there, I sleep there, and the pigs sleep there. If you sleep with me, you sleep with the pigs too. What kind of mutually assured destruction and terrifyingly self-deprecating speech was this? Fine, you win. I picked up the shovel. Then stay here and enjoy the smell. I'm going to feed Kwewa and Penno. 3. I thought the smell would smoke her out, but I had only taken 2 steps when from behind me came the sound of heart-wrenching dry heaving. I turned back to see this delicate Sioux heiress, holding onto the railing, dry heaving while taking out from her Hermes bag a pair of sterile medical gloves. Wait a minute. Lin Yu, you stop right there. Crap, this crazy woman is serious. My name is Lin Yu, a plain ordinary orphan. If I have to say there's anything special about me,
It's that.
my mom saved Su Yorong's grandfather's life back then. So the first became a nominal foster son of the Su family. Since we were little, Su Yorong has been like a beautiful tail I couldn't shake off. When I climbed trees, she held the ladder. When I fought, she handed me the bricks. In the eyes of outsiders, she's the unattainable, icy chaebol princess. In my eyes, she's a spoiled little tagalong. On the day of filling out college applications, the Su family patriarch hinted that I should join the Su group after graduation and get engaged to Yorong. I was so scared I changed my application overnight. A rough guy like me who grew up on the kindness of neighbors, marrying into a wealthy family as a live-in son-in-law, only to be mocked every day for living off a woman. Don't be ridiculous. I'd rather provide postpartum care for sows. I thought a distance of 5,000 kilometers, plus the least glamorous major on the internet, would make this young lady back down. But at 8 p.m., I was sitting on the leather sofa of the so-called fully automated, sterile, climate-controlled pigsty, lost in thought. To call it a pigsty, it was actually a vacant lot next to the pig farm, with a newly built 3-story villa. The pigs lived in the sterile zone on the first floor. People lived on the second and third floors. I have to say, evil capitalism. Even those few miniature pigs for experiments on the first floor had their own independent deodorizing fresh air system. What are you looking at? Su Yorong was wearing silk pajamas, walking out of the bathroom with wet hair. The scent of high-end designer perfume floated in the air, even masking the smell of pig manure from downstairs. Her snowy white legs were dazzling under the lights. Lin Yu. She stood before me. Looking down? What are you doing? I cautiously shrunk into the corner of the sofa. I don't know how. To use that hairdryer you bought from your school supermarket, she said matter-of-factly. Then let it air dry. I'll get a migraine or a cold. Will you take responsibility? I sighed, resignedly stood up and took the hairdryer from her hand. The dryer whirred. Her hair brushed against the back of my hand. It tickled. Lin Yu. She suddenly spoke amidst the whirring. Her voice sounded a bit muffled. Do you really hate me that much? My hand paused. I don't hate you. Then why did you apply for this godforsaken major? She turned her head abruptly. Her eyes were red again. Do you have any idea? When I saw your admission notice, I almost died of anger. I avoided her gaze. I like pigs, okay? Su Yorong stared at me for a full 10 seconds. Fine, she said through gritted teeth. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to class with you. My hand shook, almost pointing the hairdryer at her face. The next morning, anatomy lab class. When Su Yorong, dressed in a pure white high-end outfit and wearing stiletto heels, walked into the lab reeking of formalin, the entire lecture hall fell silent. The instructor pushed up his reading glasses. Student, you're in the wrong classroom, aren't you? The finance department is in the building next door. Su Yorong calmly sat in the empty seat next to me. I'm in the right place, Professor. I'm an auditing student. She tilted her head and gave me a provocative fake smile. I just felt a chill down my spine.
Today,
Our topic is the reproductive system of the soul and practical prenatal ultrasound. The professor tapped the blackboard. Everyone, line up at the pig pens in the backyard.
10 minutes later,
In front of the pig pens under the blazing sun, a pregnant sow weighing over 300 pounds was lying in the mud, panting heavily. Su Yorong's face turned green, but she gritted her teeth and stood beside me, without backing down an inch. Lin Yu, come and demonstrate how to apply the coupling agent to the sow. The professor called my name.
I picked up that bucket of
Sticky, transparent, gelatinous substance, and was about to start. I'll do it, Su Yorong suddenly spoke up. Everyone was stunned. Wearing her sunglasses and her high heels, she walked up to the mud-covered sow. Then, trembling, she reached out those hands, which usually only wore multi-million-dollar diamonds, and snatched the coupling agent from my hand. As soon as she bent down, she couldn't help but dry heave. Su Yorong stopped messing around. Go back. I lowered my voice and grabbed her arm. Shut up. She shook off my hand, staring at me with red-rimmed eyes. Then he closed his eyes as if he was ready to face death. He slapped the entire chunk of coupling agent right onto the sow's belly. The sow let out a couple of satisfied grunts. Tears started streaming down Su Yorong's face. He wiped his tears with his sleeve, while moving the ultrasound probe across the pig's belly. Lin Yu, look closely. He bit his lip. His voice was trembling. I did this for you. I even touched a pig for you. The junior students all around let out gasps of shock. My heart skipped a beat. What is this supposed to be? A rich heiress coming to the countryside for love, only to be coldly treated by a poor guy? Suddenly, I felt I'm really not a good person. Because of Su Yorong's crazy antics, I've become completely famous at the agricultural university. Everyone keeps spreading it around. In the animal husbandry department, the rumor is that Lin Yu, the new freshman, is secretly a live-in son-in-law. The trouble from the Dragon King came looking for me soon. That afternoon in the cafeteria, I had just grabbed an A2on braised chicken rice. Was about to look for a seat. A girl in a tight skirt, wearing strong perfume, stopped me. It was Lu Ryan, the beauty from the economics department. She was also Su Yorong's arch-enemy back in their elite high school. Well, isn't it young Master Lin? Lu Ryan covered her mouth and giggled, her eyes full of mockery. So the Su family went bankrupt, making you so down and out that you have to smell pig manure every day? I couldn't be bothered with her. I tried to leave by walking around her, but she blocked me, refusing to let me go. She spoke in an exaggerated tone. For a brainless heiress like Su Yorong, it's no surprise she's interested in a country bumpkin like you. One of you smells like pigs, the other smells like rust. You two are a perfect match. A lot of people in the cafeteria started watching, whispering quietly. I held my tray and sighed. Liu, if you have a bias against pigs, I'd suggest you retake biology. If there were no pork to provide protein, Your symptoms of brainstem deficiency might get even worse. Liu Ryan's expression changed. Who are you insulting? You, obviously. Can't you tell? I was about to leave with my tray, when suddenly a cold and arrogant voice came from behind. Liu Ryan, your dad's bankrupt building supplies company. The cash flow broke this month, right? The crowd parted automatically. Su Yurong was holding an identical braised chicken rice as mine, walking over expressionless. When Liu Ryan saw her, a flicker of panic flashed in her eyes. Su Yurong, what do you mean? Literally. Su Yurong walked to my side and coldly stared at her and Lin Yu. Even if he smells like pig manure every day, he's still smelling the pigs I bought for him. The heated pig house under my name, just the daily electricity bill, is enough to buy half the shares in your dad's lousy company. So what? You dare to complain about his smell? The whole room went dead silent. Liu Ryan was trembling in rage. Her eyes turned red. She covered her face and ran out. I quietly scooped up a mouthful of rice. Damn, I'm announcing this. This is the hardest soft meal I've ever eaten in my life. At night, coming back to our luxurious place, Su Yurong kicked off her heels the moment she walked in, and collapsed on the sofa without caring about her image. I'm exhausted. She rubbed her ankle, her eyebrows furrowed. I poured a cup of warm water and handed it to her. Thanks for today in the cafeteria. Thanks? For what? She took the cup, gave me an annoyed look. Only I can bully my people. No one else can say a single thing. That "my people" line made my heart skip a beat. I quickly shifted my gaze, looking out the window. The Sao Impenno 3 is about to give birth in a few days. I have to be there tonight. I'll keep watch too. She sat up straight immediately. Why are you going? The delivery room is bloody and messy. Don't pass out and faint again. Lin Yushi stepped barefoot on the sofa, pointed down at me from above. Do you think I'm just some useless person only good for drinking afternoon tea? That's not what I meant. I don't care where you go. I'll go too. At 2 a.m., it was pouring rain. A sharp, urgent alarm sounded from the pig house downstairs. I jumped out of bed, put on rain boots and rushed downstairs. The Sao Impenno 3 was having a difficult birth. When I got to the pig house, there was mud and blood everywhere. The sow was howling in pain, breathing rapidly. Piglets were stuck in the birth canal, unable to come out. We had to do assisted delivery right away. My brain was racing. I turned and shouted into the air, "Get me iodine and lubricant." And long-armed gloves. No one answered. Then I remembered the senior on duty tonight took leave. Just as I was about to go get the supplies myself, a pair of pale hands handed them right to me. I was stunned. Su Yurong was wearing a loose white lab coat, her long hair simply twisted up in a bun with a chopstick. She didn't even show any disgust. Her eyes were unusually calm. Gloves on. She put the long-arm gloves right onto my hands. At that moment, it felt like I was meeting this heiress for the first time. It stuck someone has to hold down the sow's hind legs. I gritted my teeth, my hand already searching in the birth canal. I'll do it, Su Yurong stepped right into the muddy, bloody mess without any hesitation. She hugged the sow's thick hind legs tightly. Her white coat instantly stained a dirty reddish brown. Lin Yu, hurry up. She bit her lip, her voice trembling, but didn't back away. 10 minutes later, accompanied by a weak grunt, the first piglet was finally pulled out, followed by the second and the third. When the last piglet was delivered safely, I collapsed on the ground, completely exhausted. Panting, I turned my head. Su Yurong was leaning on the fence, her face splattered with mud and water. Her white coat was unrecognizable. But as she looked at the piglets fighting for milk, she suddenly smiled. That was the most beautiful I've ever seen her. After cleaning the pig house, it was already 4 in the morning. Going back up to the second floor, we looked like 2 mud-covered eels. You go shower first. I pointed at the bathroom. She didn't say anything, silently took clean clothes and walked in. Listening to the sound of water inside, I leaned on the sofa and lit a cigarette. All I could think about was her holding the pig's legs just now. What am I even doing? I've been desperately trying to push her away, afraid I'm not good enough for her, afraid others would say I'm living off her. But Su Yorong, she never cared about any of that. Click, the bathroom door opened. I stubbied out my cigarette. The moment I turned around, my blood rushed up. He wasn't wearing his own pajamas. Instead, he put on one of my oversized white t-shirts. The hem of the t-shirt just covered the tops of his thighs. Water droplets slid down her long legs, landing on the floor. She walked barefoot up to me after getting soaked in the rain. Her voice was almost ridiculously soft. I didn't grab a towel. My Adam's apple bobbed. I had no idea where to look. I'll go get one for you. Just as I stood up, she shoved me right back onto the couch. She straddled my lap and wrapped her arms around my neck. The air was filled with a peachy shower gel scent and a faint trace of disinfectant from the pigsty. This scene couldn't be weirder or more secretly charged. Lin Yu, are you even a man? He lowered his head.
His warm breath hit my chin.
Su Yorong, stop messing around. My throat was painfully hoarse. Both hands gripped the couch edges tightly, too afraid to touch him. Who's messing with you? He suddenly broke down. Tears fell onto my collar without warning. The heat made my whole body shudder. Do you know how scared I am? You really don't want me. On the day you chose your major, I even thought about what our future kid would be named. But you ran off to raise pigs. Do I really disgust you that much? You'd rather help birth piglets than even look at me. She cried as she punched my shoulder with her tiny fists. No rhyme or reason. Like a child who suffered some huge injustice. The last wall in my heart finally came crashing down. Screw being a son-in-law. Screw social equality. I suddenly sighed heavily, let go of the couch, grabbed the back of his head, and pulled him into my arms. Su Yorong, are you dumb? I whispered in his ear with a sigh. He froze, even forgot to cry. I don't hate you. I gently patted his back. I'm just scared. All I have left is this strength. I have nothing else to give you. Afraid people will say Lin Yu is just a dog raised by the Su family. The person in my arms suddenly grew quiet. A long while later, he opened his mouth, bit hard into my shoulder through the t-shirt. I gasped sharply. Lin Yu, listen up. He lifted his head. His eyes were dazzlingly bright, brimming with his usual pride and stubbornness. Even if you're just a dog, you're mine, Su Yorong's, and only mine. This lifetime and the next you can forget about escaping. He finished speaking and kissed me straight on the lips. When I woke up the next morning, my head was pounding. I looked over. Su Yorong was clinging to me like an octopus, sleeping soundly. What even happened last night? Nothing went all the way, because he fell asleep in my arms mid-kiss. I carefully moved his arm away, got out of bed and went to the kitchen to make breakfast. Just finished frying 2 eggs. The doorbell rang. I opened the door and froze. At the door stood a prison guard in biker gear, holding a helmet. It was Su Yorong's bestie and diehard friend, Bai Ningbing. Lin Yu, living together now. Looks like life's treating you well. Bai Ningbing gave me a once-over, pushed past me and went right in. Where's Rong Rong? Still sleeping. Bai Ningbing walked to the sofa, looked at the half bowl of cheap instant noodles left on the table. Her brow furrowed. Lin Yu, I came here today to deliver a message from Uncle Su. She dropped her usual laid-back attitude. Her gaze turned sharp. Rong Rong's been coddled since she was a child. She could run off to raise pigs for you on impulse. But how long can she stick with it? Her credit card was cut off by Uncle Su last month. Did you know that? My heart skipped a beat. Cut off, what else? What do you think happened to her Rolls Royce? Haven't seen her drive it lately, right? She ran out of money for gas. Bai Ningbing sneered. Lin Yu, search your conscience. Letting her live next to a pigsty, eating 10 yuan instant noodles. Is that your version of love? My fists clenched tightly. fingernails digging into my palm. Said nothing. Yesterday, she asked to borrow 200,000 from me. Bai Ningbing pulled out a receipt from her bag, dropped it on the table. Said it was for your pig barn. Upgrading something, a temperature control filtration system. Lin Yu, let him go. You two are from different worlds. Just then, footsteps sounded from upstairs. Su Yorong came down rubbing his eyes. Saw Bai Ningbing. Paused for a second. Bing Bing, why are you here? Bai Ningbing instantly put on a smile. Just coming to check out. How are Su Eris's transformations going? Su Yorong ran over. Hugged my arm. Lifted his chin proudly. It's going great. Yesterday, Lin Yu even made me ginger brown sugar tea. Bai Ningbing gave me a deep look. Sighed. All right, as long as you're happy. I'm leaving, won't be a third wheel. After Bai Ningbing left, Su Yorong turned to look at me. What did she say to you? Not much. I avoided his gaze. Turned to get the pot. Let's eat. For days, I've been distracted. Bai Ningbing's words are like a thorn stuck in my throat. Can't swallow. Can't spit it out. I started deliberately avoiding Su Yorong. He asked me to go shopping with him. I claimed I had pig farm work. He wanted to squeeze next to me on the couch for a movie. I used analyzing the data report as an excuse. Su Yorong obviously sensed something was off. Friday afternoon. I was washing equipment in the lab. The door swung open. But it wasn't Su Yorong. It was Su Baijiu from the same group. Su Baijiu is our animal science department's campus belle. Famous for being icy and a genius. Looks pure and harmless. But when it comes to dissections, she's quicker than any butcher. Lin Yu, she handed me a bottle of ice water. For next week's project presentation, should we meet up tonight to go over the data? Sure, thanks. I took the water. Su Baijiu didn't leave. Actually, she moved in closer. You've been down lately, haven't you? I see you spacing out in class all the time. It's nothing, just tired. Honestly, I always felt you were special. Su Baijiu suddenly said softly. Her eyes flickered. That rich girlfriend of yours, looks like she won't last long in this crowd. If you ever get overwhelmed, just talk to me. I was stunned for a second. Just as I was about to speak, the lab door was suddenly kicked open. Su Yorong stormed in wearing heels. Looking furious, she was carrying 2 huge insulated boxes, slamming them hard onto the lab table. Su Baijiu jumped. Su Yorong didn't even look at her. Went straight to popping open the insulated boxes. They're full of ice. Genuine Evian mineral water, plus over a dozen boxes of top-grade Japanese cuisine. Sashimi getting drenched in the rain. He crossed his arms and stared at me coldly. I'm bringing you afternoon tea. Then he turned his head towards Su Baijiu. A cold smirk appeared at the corner of his mouth. You're Su, right? I heard you're planning to go head-to-head with my boyfriend on the data. Su Baijiu's face paled slightly, but she still forced herself to speak. It's just classmates helping each other. Miss Su, don't tell me you're going to interfere with this too. Interfere? I don't have the time to bother with you. Su Yorong took out a box of the most expensive tuna sashimi and shoved it right into my arms. I'm just here to remind you. He can't stand those $3 bottled waters. His stomach isn't good. He can only drink room temperature. And he's allergic to seafood. So this sashimi is bought for you to eat. To shut you up. Su Baijiu's face instantly became extremely unpleasant. Su Yorong, don't go too far. Me, go too far. Su Yorong stepped forward. Her aura blasting. Any man that Su Yorong sets her eyes on, even if I no longer want him, no one else gets to pick up my trash. Besides, I haven't even thought of throwing him away yet. Finishing her words, she grabbed my collar in one swift motion and dragged me straight out of the lab, pulled me all the way back to the pigsty. Su Yorong kicked open the door. Getting soaked. What's your deal? Her eyes were red and puffy, like a furious little lioness. I've been lowering myself to please you these past few days. Cooking for you, doing your laundry. You barely respond to me, but you go off to drink ice water with that green tea girl. Looking at his furious expression, the string inside me suddenly snapped. You call that pleasing me? You call that charity. I raised my voice as well. Su Yurong, you think coming to this dump of a pig farm to suffer with me makes you a saint, right? Do you even know? You borrowed money from your best friend just to get that temperature control system installed for me. If this gets out, what will people say about me? They'll say, Lin Yu is a total coward, a useless man living off a woman. The air went dead silent. All you could hear was our heavy breathing. Su Yurong stared at me in shock, tears rolling down her face in big drops. So that's what you care about. She gave a self-deprecating laugh, her voice trembling. I always thought, as long as I tried hard enough, as long as I wasn't afraid of getting dirty or tired, you'd be able to see my true feelings. I thought the biggest obstacle between us was my dad or society's judgment, but now I finally get it. The biggest obstacle between us is your pathetic self-esteem. She wiped her tears and turned to walk upstairs. Since you're so eager to keep your distance from me, fine, I'll help you out.
10 minutes later.
She came downstairs with a suitcase. Didn't even spare me a glance. Just pushed the door open and walked out. Somehow it had started pouring outside. She didn't even take an umbrella. Her thin figure quickly vanished into the rain. I stood there, feeling like my heart was being crushed by an invisible hand. Hurting so much I couldn't breathe. That's it. She's really gone this time. Day 1 after Su Yurong left, I cleaned the entire pigsty 3 times. Wore myself out, my back aching. But every time I closed my eyes, all I saw was her crying and calling me pathetic. Day 3 after Su Yurong left, I started habitually preparing 2 sets of dishes for each meal, then stared blankly at the empty seat across from me. Day 5 after Su Yurong left, the pig farm lost power. I sat alone in the dark upstairs living room. No more nagging beside me. It's so dark, Lin Yu. I'm afraid of the terrifying quiet in the house. I grabbed my phone and opened her WeChat, the chat window. Still stopped at the message she sent on the day she left. Lin Yu, if you really think I'm a burden, then I won't bother you anymore. I typed out a long message. Wanted to apologize, wanted to say I regret it. But in the end, I just sent 3 words. Have you eaten? The instant I sent the message, a red exclamation mark popped up. She had deleted me. My mind went blank. I completely panicked. In the middle of the night, I dialed Bai Ningbing's number. The phone rang for ages before it was answered. The background noise was chaotic. Sounded like a high-end banquet hall. Young Master Lin, what do you want? Bai Ningbing's voice was openly mocking. Where is Su Yurong? Where is she? My voice was rough. My hand holding the phone trembled slightly. She's on a blind date. Bai Ningbing casually dropped the bomb. What? I shot to my feet, knocking over the water glass on the table. Uncle Su arranged a blind date for her. The guy is the eldest son of Wancheng Group, fresh back from the Ivy League. Perfect match. Handsome and accomplished. Bai Ningbing snorted coldly. Isn't this exactly what you wanted? Let her be free. Let her return to her own world. Where is she? Tell me the address. I practically yelled. Crystal South Waiyu Hotel, rooftop revolving restaurant. Bai Ningbing finished speaking and hung up with a slap. I grabbed my coat and ran out into the rain. Crystal South Waiyu Hotel, the city's top luxury spot. Every guest is a millionaire or celebrity. I wore a faded t-shirt and old sneakers still muddy from the pig pen. The security guards barred me at the revolving glass door. Sorry, sir, your attire is inappropriate. We can't let you in. Besides, the rooftop restaurant's reserved tonight. I wiped rainwater off my face. Looking through the glass door, I saw the elevator indicator lamp, stopped at the rooftop. I'm looking for someone. I'm looking for Su Yurong. The guard looked at me like I was crazy. Make any more trouble, we'll call the police. I took 2 steps back, stared up at that cloud-piercing rooftop. Logic told me. Bai Ningbing was right. That's where she belongs. Dining on $1,000 steaks. Facing an heir worth hundreds of millions. Not squeezing next to me by the pigsty. Eating 10 yuan braised chicken. I just stood in the rain, staring at the lights on the rooftop. Suddenly my phone vibrated, moved a little. It was a video from Bai Ningbing. In the video, Su Yurong was wearing a black backless evening gown. Stunningly beautiful, but she was holding a glass of red wine and looked empty-eyed. Across from her sat a man in a suit, talking non-stop. Suddenly, that man reached out, trying to grab Su Yorong's hand on the table. Su Yorong quickly pulled her hand back, her brows furrowed, clearly repulsed. The video ends abruptly here. Then Bai Ningbing sent a voice message, getting soaked in the rain. He hasn't recovered from a high fever for days. Today, he was forced to come by his dad. This is all I can help with. Figure it out yourself. The last string in my mind finally snapped. To hell with pride. To hell with it. A perfect match. Nobody touches my woman. I gritted my teeth, went around to the back entrance of the hotel. Took the chance while the delivery truck was coming and going. Sneaked into the freight passage. Went up the stairs of the emergency exit. I climbed 48 floors non-stop. The moment I pushed open the top floor's fire exit door, my lungs were about to explode. I was drenched from head to toe, like a wet rat pulled out of the gutter. A gentle violin melody played in the restaurant. One immediately saw Su Yorong sitting by the window. That young master named Wan was holding a wine glass, grinning as he leaned toward him. Miss Su, I heard you've been experiencing real life lately. Life at the bottom must be rough, huh? Once we're engaged. Shut up, Su Yorong interrupted him coldly. The smell of your cologne is worse than pig manure. Young Master Wan's face stiffened. He was about to lose it. Su Yorong. I yelled out loudly, striding toward them. Everyone in the restaurant turned to look. Security guards immediately surrounded me from all sides. Su Yorong heard my voice, suddenly turned his head, saw me looking like a mess. His eyes instantly turned red, but he still bit his lip hard, stayed in his seat without moving. Who are you, begging for food? Here? The young master stood up and pointed at my nose, cursing. I ignored him, walked straight up to Su Yorong. What are you doing here? He looked at me coldly, but a grievance was hidden in his eyes. I'm here to take you home, I said, panting heavily. Home? Which home? That rundown pigsty you think I embarrassed you with. He smiled self-deprecatingly. Not embarrassed. I looked at him in front of everyone, suddenly dropped to one knee. A chorus of gasps sounded in the restaurant. I ignored everyone's shocked stares, looked into Su Yorong's eyes. I'm the one who's embarrassed. I'm the one who's insecure. I'm the coward feeling unworthy of you. So I used those words to hurt you on purpose. Su Yorong, walk away. These days, Kwewa and Pen no. 3 won't eat. Ziju and Pen no. 1 isn't gaining weight either. My throat tightened. My voice was hoarse. I can barely sleep. You didn't just take my pride. You're also taking away my life. Can you stop going on blind dates? Come back with me to raise pigs. The silence was suffocating. Young Master Wan acted like he'd heard the funniest joke ever. Damn, you're a pig farmer. Proposing to Miss Su here. Security, throw this lunatic out. 2 guards grabbed my arms. Who dares touch him? Suddenly, Su Yorong stood up. With a crash, he knocked over the tall glass in front of him. Red wine spilled everywhere. Wearing those high heels that looked ready to twist an ankle, he walked over to me in a few steps, grabbed me and hauled me up. Then he turned around, looked at young Master Wan with icy eyes. Listen carefully. I miss Su like pig farmers. The smell of pig manure on him is even better than your $200,000 car keys. After he finished, he grabbed my hand. With everyone staring at us like ghosts, he took me out of the revolving restaurant without looking back. Downstairs at the hotel, the rain had already stopped. Su Yorong dragged me all the way to the street corner, only stopping when we couldn't run anymore. Then we paused to catch our breath. We must look like a perfect match right now. One looking like a water ghost just crawled out of a swamp. The other with a couture evening dress, covered in muddy stains on the hem. Are you stupid? He turned around, crying and beating my chest, getting soaked. Are you stupid? Why did you come here? Didn't you say you don't want me anymore? I didn't dodge, letting him hit me. When he got tired, I pulled him into my arms. I'm stupid. I held him tight, feeling the heat of his body. He's still feverish. No deleting me on WeChat from now on. No going on blind dates behind my back. I whispered. My tone had an obsession even I hadn't noticed. Who gave you the right, what are you to me? Still being stubborn. I'm your kept husband. I chuckled lightly, lowered my head so our foreheads touched. The boss left. Where am I supposed to beg now? Su Yorong was stunned for a second. Then he smiled through tears. He wrapped his arms around my neck. lifted his chin. Listen up. This boss has a bad temper. If you dare push me away again. Before he finished speaking, I was already kissing her. A kiss with the chill of rain and the warmth of being reunited. This time, no smell of the pigsty. Just two shadows stretched long under the street lamp. The next day, we went straight back to school. The first thing Su Yurong did after returning to the pig farm was to have an entire truckload of premium pig feed delivered, supposedly to comfort Qiwa. As for the Su family, apparently old man Su heard about me proposing at Yu Hotel, on one knee after fighting for him, and smashed a set of antique teaware in anger. But strangely, he didn't send anyone to drag Su Yurong back. Your dad agreed? That night, while I was massaging Su Yurong's sore calf, I carefully asked. He rolled his eyes. Agreed my ass. He thinks I've embarrassed the family enough, he said. If I can't make a living by raising pigs, he wants me to never set foot in the Su family's home again. My hands paused. So what are you going to do? Do what? He kicked my chest, arrogantly raised his chin. Miss Su has already bought pig pens worth tens of millions. Doesn't care about his money soaked in the rain. Let me tell you, from now on, the pig farm is under my control. You're just working for me. You hear me? It's President Su. I smiled helplessly. The next 2 years, time flew by in a surreal way. Su Yurong really put all his stubbornness
Into raising pigs?
He was even more hardworking than me. To figure out some imported vaccine, he had me studying a foreign language with him until 3 a.m. And I finally let go of that ridiculous pride. Since he's willing to wade through the mud with me, then even if it costs me my life, I'll build him a palace in this mud. Junior year, the system we developed is a fully automated environmental monitoring and pig stress management system, has been granted a national level patent. Just before graduation, a venture capital company approached us. They offered 10 million to buy out the patent. On the day of signing, the VC company's representative walked in. I was stunned. It turned out to be Su Yurong's father, Mr. Su. He wore traditional Chinese attire, with Bai Ningbing following behind, looking uneasy. Uncle Su, I stood up, a bit nervous. Mr. Su ignored me. He walked straight to the head of the conference table and sat down. Gave Su Yurong, across the table, a glance. 10 million for your patent. The condition is, you two must join the agricultural technology division of Su Group. Su Yurong crossed her arms. She didn't even look at her father. 20 million, she said coldly. Are you robbing me? Mr. Su's eyes widened. 20 million for just the patent rights. Not selling it outright, and we won't join Su Group. We're going independent. Su Yurong unleashed her full aura. Like a young business queen. Buy it or not. Lee Group next door just offered me 18 million yesterday. Mr. Su was furious. He was fuming. He glared and pointed at Su Yurong. Then at me. Lin Yu, look what you've turned her into. Money obsessed. I touched my nose, trying hard not to laugh. Sorry, Chairman Su. Our boss, Su Yurong, makes the decisions. Mr. Su was silent for a whole minute. Finally, he snorted coldly, picked up the pen and signed the contract. When leaving, he walked past me, suddenly stopped. Kid, if you ever let her down, I'll send you to Africa to raise wild boars. I stood up straight. Rest assured, sir, she's the only one who ever bullies me. On graduation day, for the first time, the Agricultural University hung a banner for the Animal Science Department. Warm congratulations to Lin Yu and Su Yurong for successfully founding Honor Ecological Technology and winning a first round of 20 million in funding. In the school auditorium, I stood on stage in my cap and gown, thanking the school, thanking my advisor. Lastly, I want to specially thank my lab partner, my boss, and my future wife, Su Yurong. Thunderous applause broke out in the auditorium. I looked at the girl in a red dress, smiling brightly like a flower. 4 years ago, to avoid him, I picked this major. I thought he'd hate the mud and smell of pig manure here, but he didn't.
He was there with me, helping in the pigsty at 4 a.m.
And mixing feed with me in 90-degree heat. He showed me through his actions that there's no superior or inferior major, only genuine hearts willing to fight. I put down the microphone, walked down from the stage in front of the whole school, up to Su Yurong, knelt on one knee, pulled out a diamond ring, I bought with my first profit share. Su Yurong, you bought the pigsty's property rights. But I hope our names will be on future property titles. Will you marry a pig farmer? The whole auditorium was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Su Yurong covered her mouth. Tears instantly poured down her cheeks. But she still kept her chin held high with pride. Smart choice. She gave me her hand to put the ring on. If it's too small, you're dead. Amid cheers from the crowd, I slipped the ring onto her finger. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Bai Ningbing and Mr. Su in the corner. Bai Ningbing was frantically taking photos. And Mr. Su, though still stone-faced, couldn't help but twitch his mouth. Finally, he sighed helplessly and started clapping along. Extra story. Married life, year 3. Our Honor Ecological Company has become the city's largest modern livestock enterprise. At the new high-end temperature-controlled breeding base, on opening day, Su Yurong wore a custom suit with 3-centimeter low heels, swapped out by me because she's pregnant, standing next to me. A reporter held the mic and asked, President Lin, President Su, we heard you named the first batch of premium breeding pigs. Very special names. Any meaning behind them? My face turned dark, trying to grab the microphone. No meaning. Just random names. Su Yurong pushed me aside, beaming at the camera. Of course they have meaning. She pointed to the fattest pig on the big screen behind her, the most valuable breeding pig. This one's called Lin Xiaoyu. The female next to it is called Su Jiaowang. They symbolize our unbreakable love that's stronger than even a pig. The audience burst out in good-natured laughter. I helplessly rubbed my forehead. Well, guess I'm tied to pigs for life. That night when we got home, I had just finished showering and saw Su Yurong lounging at the head of the bed, holding a tablet, reading today's news. President Lin, why did you try to grab my mic on stage today? Think I embarrassed you? She raised an eyebrow, her tone dangerous. I hurried over, skillfully massaged her shoulders. Of course not. Darling, I just didn't want you to get too tired. She rolled her eyes at me, then snuggled into my arms. Her belly was starting to show. I put my palm on it and felt the tiny life inside moving. My heart felt unbelievably soft. Lin Yu, she whispered suddenly. Do you remember the day you filled out your application? When I was so mad I wanted to kill you. I remember you almost flayed me alive. Actually, she turned to look right into my eyes. A sly smile on her lips. That temperature-controlled pigsty property certificate was left to me by my grandfather before he passed. He already guessed you'd pick agricultural university and knew I'd definitely follow you. I was stunned. So you knew from the start. What else? Did you really think? Me, a pampered princess who never touches chores, would buy a pigsty just out of spite? She smugly pinched my cheek. Lin Yu, you can't escape this. You've been in my plans since we were kids. Looking at her radiant smile, I felt all my struggles over the past 4 years suddenly were laughable. Turns out the most elite hunter usually appears as the prey. All right, I sighed, lowered my head and kissed her forehead. President Su, your plan is flawless. Lin Yu willingly surrenders. Moonlight shone outside. This formerly spoiled and headstrong princess now nestled sweetly against me, like a cat finally finding its safe haven. Who would have thought that a story about postpartum care for sows would end up binding us together for life?